Hello students of class 8. The other day we had started the second half of the Two Gentlemen of Verona, and we found that Julia had already arrived at Milan because she could not bear the separation from Proteus any longer, but she was very afraid. She thought that it was below her maiden dignity uh, you know, um, for not being able to control her emotions and to come to Milan to meet Proteus. And she thought that Proteus might not take this in the right spirit. But on the other hand, the innkeeper was very surprised to see this gentleman sad, this good-natured man, as he concluded. And to cheer him up, he invited him to listen to some fine music where a lover would serenade his mistress, where a gentleman would serenade his mistress. And Julia accepted the offer. But when she came to the palace, whither the host conducted her, a different effect was produced to what the kind host intended. For there, to her heart's sorrow, she beheld her lover, the inconsistent Proteus, serenading the Lady Sylvia with music and addressing discourse of love and admiration to her. And Julia overheard Sylvia from a window talk with Proteus and reproach him for forsaking his own true lady and for his ingratitude to his friend Valentine. And then Sylvia left the window, not choosing to listen to his music and his fine speeches, for she was faithful lady to her banished Valentine and abhorred the ungenerous conduct of his false friend Proteus. So what happened was that though this innkeeper took Julia to listen to some fine music so that so as to cheer the gentleman, but when Julia found that it was none other than Proteus who was actually serenading Lady Sylvia, she was very sad. Okay. But she, as it said, inconsistent, that is unfaithful. And but one thing she noticed was that Lady Sylvia also did not listen to whatever Proteus had to say, because she scolded Proteus for being an unfaithful lover and unfaithful friend to Valentine. And after some time she left the window, and because she was not interested to listen to the praises of Proteus, as she was also very loyal towards her Valentine. Okay, so that is the reason why she left the place, and she hated Proteus for his behavior. Though Julia was in despair at what she had just witnessed, yet did she still love the truant Proteus, and hearing that he had lately parted with a servant, she contrived, with the assistance of her host, the friendly innkeeper, to hire herself to Proteus as a page. And Proteus knew not she was Julia, and he sent her with letters and presents to her rival Sylvia, and he even sent by her the very ring she gave him as a parting gift at Verona. So when Julia saw all this, she was very sad. But though she was sad, she still loved Proteus. So what she did was she thought of a plan, and she spoke to the innkeeper, and and with the help of the innkeeper she had heard that Proteus' servant had left, so she decided to engage herself as paid Sebastian to Proteus, but Proteus could not recognize Julia, and she sent letters and gifts to Sylvia via Julia. And another thing, and the worst that he did was he also sent the ring through Julia, which Julia had given him at the time of parting from Verona. When she went to the lady with the ring, she was not glad to find that she was most glad to find that Sylvia utterly rejected the suit of Proteus. And Julia, or the paid Sebastian as she was called, entered into conversation with Julia about Proteus's first love, the forsaken lady Julia. She, putting in a good word for herself, said she knew Julia as well as she might, being herself the Julia of whom she spoke, telling how fondly Julia loved her master Proteus, and how his unkind neglect would grieve her. And then she, with a pretty equivocation means ambiguity, that is double meaning, as you say, went on, Julia is about my height and of pretty complexion, the color of her eyes and hair as the same as mine, and indeed Julia looked a most beautiful youth in the boy's attire. So when Proteus sent Julia with that parting ring, then Sylvia did not accept it at all. She was not glad, and she just refused it. And this paid Sebastian or Julia started speaking of Proteus's first love, and she said that I know Julia, and Julia would be very unhappy to know that Proteus Proteus has been disloyal to her, unfaithful to her, and she kind of as though she knows Julia so well, she's speaking good about her own self, and she's there was a kind of vague way she's saying that, oh, Julia is of my height, of my complexion, of the same size as mine, because she was Julia herself. And the author is saying, and indeed she looked very pretty in the boy's attire. Okay, we stop here today. We'll do the rest of it in the next class. Thank you.